during this trip, which was supposed to be a week, got extended to a month, I decided that I like Bombay and I want to invest here. So without having a job or without having any idea where I'm going to stay, I booked a place here.
Hey guys, I'm Mihir Joshi. Welcome to another episode of the MJ Show. If you've not seen the first episode that we did with Neil, make sure you go and check it out. Again, I have somebody really fascinating with me. I know you've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail, so you know who my guest is. But before I tell you a little bit more about her, I want to remind you again, this is a very special season for me because the MJ Show completes 10 years in August. So I decided now that I've got this new season going on, we're shooting it at this beautiful new studio at the QK office. I thought I'm going to get people who I find extremely interesting and share their stories with all of you. And I hope you guys enjoy all the guests that I have this season. Now the guest that I have with me today, she's an incredibly talented, beautiful young actress. She's been doing some incredible shows on OTT platforms. She's been a part of a whole bunch of movies. And I'm extremely delighted that I have her here with me on this second episode of this new season of the MJ Show. Welcome, the lovely Anupriya Goenka. Anupriya, welcome on the show.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy that we are here today, and I gotta tell everybody watching right now, this episode came out of a extremely random conversation that Anupriya and I had at an event that both of us were at. We got talking, we literally met there for the first time, this was probably about a week ago.
Yeah.
We got talking. I think we spoke for a grand total of about 10 minutes. I think both of us wanted more, we wanted to talk a little bit more and find out a little bit more about, I wanted to find out more about her, maybe we'll
vice versa too.
So that's how this episode came about. So like I said, आपने बहुत सारे shows में उनको देखा है, आपने उनको फिल्मों में देखा है, आज एक थोड़ी सी अलग सी journey करेंगे, we'll find out a little bit more about her. And as I always do when somebody comes on my show for the first time, before we talk about the myriad other things that we have planned, I always want to know the origin story. So Anupriya, as I say, the origin story of each person who's doing something interesting, or for that matter, each person who's doing anything has something to share, a story, how they got to where they're at. And you've now been doing what you do now for a fairly long time. How did this journey begin? How did you always know that acting is something that you were going to do, or did you just land into it somehow?
Not at all actually, because I come from a Marwari family, a typical business family, and acting or modeling or anything related to that side of the world is literally alien.
Yeah.
You just look at them from a distance and never even think that you can ever be anywhere close to that. It doesn't even occur.
Correct.
And I was always bred to be a business person, take on my father's business. It just so happened that it was falling apart, like literally falling apart by the time I got into it. And I decided to shut it down because it was really squeezing a lot out of us. And I figured that this was beyond saving anymore. And so my education in business started the opposite way around. Rather than starting something, it was more about how do you shut down a business.
Wow, okay.
And then meanwhile, I started to do some work in the call center. That was also interesting because I was working with my father and mother.
Okay.
I was barely 17 or 18 at that time, right out of school. And I just was surrounded by people who were, apart from my parents, also like 40 plus, 50 plus, talking in the same Delhi way of,
Oh, so you were born and brought up in Delhi?
No, I was born in Kanpur but primarily brought up in Delhi.
Delhi, okay.
एंड वो एक बोलने का तरीका होता है ना कि आप टेक्निकल पॉइंट नहीं समझ रहे हैं और ऐसा है और हर वक्त मतलब इतना झूठ such and everything. So I just needed some fresh blood and I just needed some youthful energy around me. And me and my mother had a pact कि mornings में you have to come to the factory. What remains is nights.
Right.
And night time you only had call centers.
So when did you sleep?
I used to sleep literally for 3-4 hours. And my mom was very okay with it. She was like, you're 18, you can do this. Your choice. I want you in the factory by about 10-ish, 10:30 max.
Lovely.
So I started going for night shifts. And I realized this world of MNCs and I was like, what the hell have we been doing? This is so wonderful. You have great cabins, great offices, you have a structure and you can grow and I'm not worried about anybody else's salary. It's like my thing. And when you're young, you also have so much energy, right?
That's true.
So I got promoted very quickly.
Nice.
And I thought that this is what I want to do.
Just for people who are watching right now, so they know, what call center was this? What was the
number of them? Yeah.
Okay.
I shifted. The first one I stayed in literally for a month. The second one I stayed in for 2.5 months.
Okay.
I think if there was a third, I don't remember. But then there was Amex that I stuck around.
Oh, you were
for
with
2
Amex
years.
as well.
Yes.
Okay, so after call centers, you got into
Amex as in the call center. The
call center for Amex.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
okay.
there was a huge promotion.
Wow. Okay.
Money wise, more less so much so as role wise, but more money wise.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did all of that. But meanwhile, my family thing was also going on. So I had to take a break, literally live out of a suitcase.
Wow.
For about a year and a half because I was traveling different locations to sort my father's business out. And in between, I used to keep doing ad hoc jobs whenever I could, or time allowed me, whenever I was stationed for a. Because my father's business was that of manufacturing of exports. Sorry, manufacturing and exports of garments.
Okay.
So I knew that as well. So I would pick up those jobs on the side. And then Bombay just happened because we, any which ways, shifted our base from Delhi. I shifted my parents to Jaipur.
Okay.
Rajasthani, so more like kind of familiar.
Correct.
My mother said that she doesn't want to be in a big city anymore.
Right.
And that sounded cheaper as well as an option.
Yeah.
And I kind of was, as I said, living out of a suitcase. On one of these trips, I landed in Bombay because I had to sort out my dad's drawback work, which was all around port areas. And yeah, I stayed at BARC at a friend's place.
In Chembur, yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I know.
We used to get food, I think breakfast for about 10 rupees, 15 rupees,
correct,
really subsidized, good stuff.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. So Bombay was like, though my
No, so you saw the unbelievable parts of Mumbai.
Exactly, and I felt that this is the city.
This is how the city is.
This is the city I want to be in.
Yeah, अगर आप मुंबई में आओ तो आपको समझ में आएगा कि मुंबई की जो पेस है, जो शहर है वो कैसा है. पर मुंबई में भी ऐसे पॉकेट्स ऑफ स्पेसेस है, एरियाज है जहाँ पे लगता है कि यार आप कोई दूसरे शहर में हो, शहर छोड़ो, दूसरे you're in some different country. One of them was Anushakti Nagar in Chembur. I spent about 20 years of my childhood in BPCL colony, which is like another one of those paradise kind of places.
Yeah.
That's not what Mumbai is, by the way. Sabko
No, but Mumbai does have a charm.
It does have a charm.
Remember, I had come from Delhi.
Of course, yeah.
So Delhi is very hectic, and
Yeah.
because more than that, the kind of experiences we were having in the later years were not very pleasant. So from that to this
must have been amazing. Yeah, for sure.
And
by the way, I was not putting down Mumbai in any way. I love this city. I can't imagine living anywhere else. But I'm saying the pace of Anushakti Nagar life and BPCL colony life versus the pace of Mumbai life. And
so I literally stepped in without knowing in one of the bestest places. Mountains and big roads.
Astounding place.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And but having said that, I was also traveling a lot because I used to go to Uran to do my father's work. So I've done all those train journeys, all of it. And yeah, but also my maternal family is based in Bombay for a very long time. I didn't stay much with them, barely for 3-4 days if at all, even after shifting. But they were in Mahim, so again a very different atmosphere.
Yep.
But what happened is that during this trip, which was supposed to be a week, got extended to a month, I decided that I like Bombay and I want to invest here. I don't have a job. I don't know where I'm going to stay. I went around on a bike with a friend looking for places, all from Andheri all the way to Thane.
Wow.
And because I was based in Gurgaon in Delhi, I'd always had to travel all the way to Saket or South Delhi for everything.
Correct.
So distances did not really
bother you,
make that much of an impact. Less did I know what I was signing up for. But budget-wise, Thane worked. Saw Hiranandani, liked it, suited my. So without having a job or without having any idea where I'm going to stay, I'd come literally for a month. I booked a place here.
Kya baat hai?
1 BHK.
Okay. Nice.
I remember calling my mother, and my then friend was like furious at me because he was like, "What the hell are you doing? Like you don't have money for down payment." I just had some 25,000 rupees, and that was about for the down payment at that time.
Correct.
But there was obviously a lot of it was under construction, so a lot of these tranches were going to come up.
Correct.
He said, "You don't have a job. You don't have. How would you do the loan? You have no idea whether Bombay was even never in plan.
Correct.
So because I'd booked a place in Bombay, I shifted to Bombay.
Wow, okay.
So that it was really that, because of all the places that are available to me, I'd already booked a place, and that.
Now I got to make my home here.
Yeah, and I took another job to fund for that home loan.
Brilliant.
And that again was a call center. JP Morgan happened, and because you have to have a certain amount of people working, and to get a certain amount of loan, and it has to meet an MNC standard.
Right.
All that was being met. So it was very funny that generally people decide a place, come build a home. For me, it was first do the home, shift,
and
then look
figure
for
out
a
a way
home
to
loan,
pay for it.
and then take a job. And so just life, took on. So I was doing corporate work for the first couple of years.
I'm going to take a small segue here to ask you, in your time in the call centers, think about getting. I want to hear, because people get to hear you now as an actor. You're playing a certain character and everything, and when we are talking right now, I get to hear you speak as you are. Imagine you got a call in one of your call centers. Think about all the places that you worked at. What would your standard, because I'm sure you've done the reply so many times. I know when I start a video, like, hey guys, I'm Mihir Joshi, so I know my standard thing. Let's hear one call center phone call.
You have to realize that I'm much older there now, right?
I get it, but
it's about 15 years ago, maybe
go back in time. Put yourself in the frame of mind of Anupriya from 15 years ago.
So I remember we used to do American accent, right? I don't know how to do it anymore per se. And also in Amex, thankfully they wanted us to have a neutral one.
Okay.
I think largely a call would be like, hi, how are you doing today? This is Anu, your customer service representative. How may I help you? Something like that.
So in this accent itself, like a straight.
So Amex, as I said, was
the neutral one.
So in the previous jobs, I was a sales rep.
Okay.
And there it was obviously we were the ones making the call.
Correct. And so you had to sound American, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there yes, but it was mainly the whole point was to get the social security number.
Okay.
And just manage that, and I like there'd be a board with people ticking how many numbers one person has made, and I was one of the good ones, I can say that. And we used to be handed in trainings. We used to be handed these call cards that how to open a conversation and how to close it. I would literally follow it, and on a good day, obviously, if you make one, that's good because so many people just keep the phone down and.
Correct.
But. Sometimes I would make 4 or 5 or 9 or 10, and it would be, and sometimes the names were really very weird, right? So we would get a dick, and then I would make sure that I'm saying that word dick again and again. So how are you doing, Dick? And how can I do this for you? Oh God! So I'm sorry, I don't know whether I should be saying this on camera.
That's perfectly cool. This is what I want to hear, because I'm sure it must have been such a fascinating, experience for you. To do this, like I'm sure, today it's hilarious because I keep joking about the fact that today, on an average, on a daily basis, we get like 10 calls. Somebody asking for a loan, somebody asking for, credit card lena hai aapko, ye karna hai, wo karna hai. But that's what they're doing within India.
Well, I'm sorry. I just realized I should have more sympathy for them. I don't.
I just realized that you were on the other end of that conversation.
Yeah, I haven't realized it. Sometimes even I get very irritated. Yeah, but I just make sure to say it in a nicer way.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I think that's what maybe, without realizing, I'm not someone who shouts at them.
Correct.
Or would say that, duck.
Correct.
Yes, there are those days when, you're in the middle of something. And I'll be just like, mujhe nahi chahiye, thank you. Tak.
Exactly.
But mostly I've been told by many people, oh, you did it very nicely. Yeah. And I think maybe without realizing.
It was there, yeah. Because you've been on the other end of it, yeah.
Yeah, and you know they're only doing their job.
Exactly. So you know what? Be polite, yeah. Be nice to the people who call you. Worst case scenario, if you see Truecaller ne bata diya ki spam call hai, to cut karo. But don't be mean to them. Don't. It's their job. Here we've got one of the most recognized actresses in our country who did that job. So she knows what it is to be on the other side. Sorry about that tangent that we went into. But you were saying. So
So that's how Bombay happened.
Yeah.
And then I continued working, and I was working in a call center, as I said, which was more of a common sense role. And honestly, I never really did an MBA or any of those things because I was always working and supporting.
Right.
So a friend of mine told me that why don't you make a switch to being an EA? Now, executive assistant also doesn't really need you to have that much of a degree, as much as common sense, presence, a personality, and basically just being on your toes and being smart enough to gather and grasp things. And so yeah, thankfully she did that. She was a blessing in disguise, and she got me to work as an EA, which I did for a couple of years.
Wow.
Pay package was really great. Experience was beautiful. That was more of a corporate profile. And I loved it. I actually loved being behind a desk from 9 to 10. I mean, it's never 9 to 5.
Yeah,
but that's why people say that. Yeah. It's never 9 to 5.
It's just because of Dolly Parton song, everybody loves romanticizing 9 to 5. Maybe India में नहीं, वो 9 to 5 वहाँ से.
Maybe बाहर होता होगा तो पता नहीं.
हाँ,
but India में
इधर पे तो मैंने अभी तक
नहीं
कभी नहीं सुना है कि कोई 9 बजे जाके 5 बजे घर वापस आया.
And it is disgraceful, okay, because people don't do 9 to 5. So it's like poor guys who are working in corporates, they probably have a much longer day ahead of them.
Correct.
So yeah, but while I was doing that, I got another house, got my parents shifted, settled.
Lovely.
And I just felt that I've kind of settled my family.
Yeah.
And I went through a churning process where a part of me wanted to do something creative, though I did not know what. And I was in Network 18, and they had everything. They had Studio 18, they had...
Yeah. So you were an EA at Network 18? We missed that. Okay, so you were already essentially a part of the entertainment industry because it doesn't get bigger than Network 18.
Correct, and they had everything by then. Viacom had happened.
Correct.
All their various social platforms had happened. They had colors, and they had obviously the news channel.
Correct.
But acting was not on my mind. Only theatre was.
Okay.
And my bosses used to tell me that, listen, we have everything under the umbrella. Theatre we don't have.
Correct.
So the deal was to come back.
Okay.
The deal was to take a break for 3-4 months, figure out my life. There were other things that I also needed to wrap up, family-wise, and do some theatre. Kind of, dig my teeth in there, understand what's happening, maybe figure out certain productions wherein who probably rehearse on a Saturday, Sunday, or later in the evenings, and then come back. And that remained my backup plan. I never went back because it was like, no, this I need as a security. I can't be messing this up. But meanwhile, any theatre production that I used to do was to never see the light of the day.
Oh, okay.
And that happened like 3 times. I would rehearse for 3 months, 4 months.
Oh gosh.
Do ad hoc jobs on the side whenever I would run out of money.
Yeah.
So that continued.
Okay.
I did do a round of auditions sometime in between, I think for a month. And I got 1 or 2 TV series. And I realized that, no, I'm not signing them. I was just not able to sign them. So I said, यहाँ तो audition करके फायदा नहीं है because तुम करोगी तो है नहीं, तो you're wasting time and auto travel. And yeah, so but वहाँ से acting का कीड़ा लग गया था, जो भी थोड़ा बहुत सीखा. थिएटर में मुझे ज़्यादा सीखने का मौका नहीं मिला because मैंने ज़्यादा किया नहीं. And because I was always somebody who had to earn to support the family, I realized the money needs to start coming.
Correct.
From this industry if I want to do this.
Correct.
That's when again another churning was happening, and I mean the same time I actually continued, and that's how commercial work started.
Brilliant. The theatre roles that you were doing, the 3 plays that you said you took part, would there be anything that that people would know about?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I don't even remember, to be very honest. I remember only 1.
Okay.
There were 2. No, actually 3 of them. One got staged. I was playing a wife of a 60-year-old.
Oh wow, okay.
Lovely experience because I never done that UP language. I never obviously played a 60-year-old woman and all of those things.
Wait, you were also 60-year-old?
I was playing, yeah.
You were playing a life. I heard the wife.
A wife of a 60-year-old person, but I was also like 50,
so
60.
you had obviously...
Yeah. 60-year-old woman, I should say that I was playing a 60-year-old woman.
Okay, interesting.
And but then that just had 1 staging. And then another play that we did was with Satyadev Dubey sir.
Oh, lovely.
By that time, he was already very ill. And that kind of never really... It had maybe 1 staging again. It never really took a life of its own. And the third one was again an improvisational play that we all got together. We spent months rehearsing, but it was so improvisational in nature that it kind of like fell apart before it even saw it went anywhere. I remember all of it.
Wow.
So yeah.
There you go. So your commercial work began. What was the first proper project that you did?
So I have to say this, I never had dreamy eyes, like, oh, I've arrived and now everybody would, because I'd seen life much more, and I was always very realistic, pessimistic that way.
Okay.
But I had this very fanciful idea about acting, that acting तो खाली theatre में होती है, commercial में acting नहीं होती है.
Correct.
Okay. और मुझे ads का तो लगता था ये तो दमी बेकार है, बिकॉज इतनी बड़ी बड़ी लाइंस में मैं तो नहीं खड़ी हो सकती, और वो बोर्ड लेकर ऑडिशंस देना, और ये क्या है, क्या एक्टिंग करते हैं. कमर्शियल में आई यूज्ड टू एक्चुअली सेंड अ होल मेल टू पीपल, एंड वो फेसबुक से मिलते थे हमें एड्रेसेस, बिकॉज आई डिड नॉट नो लिटरली नो वन. राइट. तो वो फेसबुक ग्रुप्स में भी किसी ने बताया होगा, ऐड किया, मिला, या थिएटर ग्रुप में से किसी ने बताया होगा कि यहाँ ऑडिशन हो रहा है, समथिंग लाइक दैट प्रॉबेबली. And I used to send a mail out saying, मुझे commercial work नहीं करना, मुझे ads नहीं करने, I don't want to do commercial films, I want to do realistic cinema, parallel cinema, international Indo-Western work, Iranian films. Like I used to really send a mail out like that. I never got a proper portfolio done because A, I did not have the money to spend, and B, I just didn't. So I had very basic pictures taken. And yeah, so I think my first year was just this, that, not knowing whether I'm doing this, not doing this. I think my very first ad was a Volkswagen ad.
Oh, nice.
But
so your commercial work began with an
it was
ad.
a random thing that happened.
Okay.
Maybe they casted somebody, didn't work. Suddenly I came into the picture, did it, got 15,000 rupees, which was like great.
Yeah.
And then I think again, I don't remember what I was doing for them. Then I did a Pothi's print ad, and then I did another ad. Actually, I did a series with Rohan Sippy, and it was a 24-hour series ka pilot being shot. And I think Rohan sir did not realize that I'm so new, because I would not know where the camera is, where the lighting is. I would do the theatre thing of just doing something naturally and walking out, and Rohan would be like, but wait, like, that's where your facing was, that where the lighting is, you have to hit the marks. I'm like, acha, okay, and we'll do it again. So, but then that never really got released.
Okay.
That the series never took off. And meanwhile, I was doing a play with Lilith Dubey, I remember.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did that. And so somewhere around that time, this acting thing started with my first Pradeep Sarkar ad.
Lovely.
And Dada played a huge role in, because around this entire 6, 7, 8 months, I was kind of just unsure, just floating around with all these fancy ideas about acting and what is not acting.
Yeah.
But when I did my ad, obviously the little bit of work that I'd done otherwise, and the ad with Dada, I realized, oh fish, ads take energy and time, and it's beautiful, and you have lovely people to work with.
Correct.
And it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And he kind of liked me. He took me for Bharat Nirman.
Nice.
And he had a lot of faith in me, more than I did.
Wonderful.
I think he made me feel that, okay, there are lovely people in this industry. Till then I was a little unsure, wary of whether, what am I getting into?
Correct.
Whether it will suit me, whether I will suit it, whether I'll be able to find a common place. But Dada made me feel that, oh no, lovely people, and there's a lot of effort and a lot of work goes into everything.
Correct.
And yeah, so that's how it started.
That's beautiful.
I did. I mean, ads are what made me. If not for ads, I wouldn't have been able to survive. They ran my kitchen for about the first 4-5 years.
It's amazing. By the way, for everybody watching right now, Mumbai में सबके साथ ये हो रहा है. तो अगर आपके पास कोई interesting solutions है, कोई अच्छे medicines है, please बताइए. Everybody, I was literally coughing until about a few days ago. Don't apologize. I'm just happy that we are here. We're talking. So don't mind the fact that that's happening. अगर कोई, if you have some suggestions for her, please comments में बता दीजिए.
Please do.
Always
घर के
helps.
नुस्खे.
Yeah, घर के नुस्खे बिल्कुल. But okay, so let's go away from your journey for a bit on a tangent, because I was checking out your Instagram and we just spoke about this before she came in. What's the kind of music that you listen to?
I like the old music far more than the newer versions of it, like old Hindi music, soft rock, ballads from the 60s or the 70s.
Lovely.
Because you know what happened is that my sisters were far older than I, and they used to hear a lot of that kind of music from Hindi films as well as the English ones.
Nice.
And I kind of picked up on them, on their kind of music, and that became my definition.
Music, yeah, lovely.
And ghazals or Sufi music, I like it all. The only one I am not really fond of is electronic, metal, techno. So yeah, that I can't digest.
We were in the same boat in terms of music choices for sure.
So apart from that, everything else, hip hop.
That being said, I always say that there's good music in every genre. There's good music, there's bad music, and you just have to make it a point to listen to that good music in each genre.
And what you like.
And what you like at the end
of the day.
Such a subjective thing. Exactly. However, I was very intrigued to see that you recently visited the Beatles ashram in Rishikesh, and I also saw further down on your. By the way, if you're not following on Instagram, please do that. She's got some great stuff happening apart from promoting her shows and beautiful photographs of her. Now you've got a whole bunch of portfolio shots which you did back then. I saw like your feed is filled with wonderfully shot photos. But I saw you doing, was it kickboxing? What martial arts were you learning?
I was learning Qigong. It can be called Qigong or Qigong. So I discovered this. I was traveling for about 1.5 months, and it's been a while that I did that without a plan. It started off for like a 1 week thing, became much more and just kept increasing. And I landed up in Goa in between for a contact dance workshop, which is again very different, and I've never ever been acquainted with it. I saw videos that I did not like, but something told me that this is something that I need to try, and I had the time in Jan. So just took off, and what it led to was this discovery of amazing place called Arambol in the middle of Goa, which is like a hippie village, has a lot of international crowd, now a lot of Indians too, and they're all artists.
Oh wow,
and they do different things, and it's like of course money is exchanged, but there is a sort of a barter underlying it also, because the same teachers would probably learn from someone else something else and teach and then earn and survive. So there was like a host of things to learn.
Wow.
Like every day you could probably learn 4 different things, and one of them that I did was Qigong, which is a form of a martial art similar to that of Tai Chi. There's this beautiful teacher called Bruno, who's from Cambodia, who was here for a month.
Wow.
I just got to do a couple of sessions with him, and did tango, did bachata socials. I did not really learn, but I love tango. It's very meditative. Found a beautiful teacher for that, and contact improvisation, which is again very difficult to do but interesting, and I think a couple of other things too. Of course, some yoga classes, some pottery lessons. Like it's heaven for an artist. You just go and unleash yourself.
So the reason I asked you that is, in those videos I saw again, that you were wearing a Beatles t-shirt. Is there a story? Is there something? Has been maybe even from just your visit to the Beatles ashram? Is there a Beatles story of some sort in your life? Has their music or has anything related to the Beatles impinged you in some way and made you think about?
To be honest, no. I mean, the music has always been fascinating. It's always very peppy, happening, but also has a very relaxing quality about it. That I find very interesting about Beatles. Like, it makes you feel the world is a calmer place, no matter whatever they are saying, what their dialogues are. It has a very meditative quality, but at the same time being happening and peppy and would get you on your feet. So isn't it amazing? Something that can get you on your feet, but yet also feel it's a great place to be in.
Absolutely.
And it's everything's great and calm. So but I think that's why they used to follow this guru that we had.
For a brief amount of time they came, they stayed here in Rishikesh, they studied. So George Harrison kept on with the studies for or you know, with the spirituality thing for a fairly long time.
Yeah.
But the rest of the band basically kind of fell out of that. But when they were here, they were in it, and that influenced their music in a big way as well. When they went back, and the albums that they recorded after that were deep Indian influences in a lot of the stuff that they did.
Correct.
Interesting.
So I went because it's one of the places to visit, to be honest.
Lovely.
But what I also realized is that ashram, right in the center of Rishikesh, within the forest, beautiful, so well organized it was in its day. And I felt that why, you know, in Rishikesh and Tapovan you have all these yoga institutes.
Yeah.
And their buildings just sprung up everywhere, one floor yoga hall, and then the others, people are staying. This is like a university of yoga that you can have.
Wow.
They had decided dorms and beautifully done rooms, their hall and their kitchen, their reception, everything is so well planned, beautiful, scenic, spiritual. I was like, why are we just doing this on ticketing basis?
Yeah.
I think there's some kind of a feud going on, some sort of a thing. I really hope the government takes this up and turns it into a yoga university.
Be amazing, yeah.
And yeah, so I think that is something that remained with me.
So, you know, it's interesting. The reason I asked, again, as you can evidently see, I don't really plan where the conversation is going to lead, but I wanted to check about the Beatles because their music has meant so much to so many millions of people all across the world. And completely off topic from this conversation, if you guys are Beatles fans, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite Beatles song is, and I'll tell you. My favorite song is actually a song which was written by George Harrison, a song called Something. You know?
Yeah, it's a beautiful song.
Beautiful song. You know, let's get back a little bit into your journey now that we kind of went away from it. You know, you've been a part of multiple films, lots of shows on OTT platforms. Before we talk about your OTT stuff, and you know, I gotta tell you guys, she told me when we met the other day, have you seen Asur? And I sheepishly admitted that I hadn't. She said, you know, that of the multiple things that I've done, I really love that show, you should check it out. I was like, okay. And I actually went back home, I started that show. Man, in really one day, I finished all 8 episodes of that show, and I'm so glad that I watched it this week and not when it came out, because it's been 3 years since season 1. Tell us a little bit about season 2, and then I'm going to ask you what I was going to ask you about.
I can't divulge much.
No, but tell us when it's coming out. Something.
I have no idea, but it should be out anytime soon.
Okay.
It's been getting postponed month after month. So ideally, I'm assuming that it should be out by April at least.
Okay.
But let's see. It's one thing I can say, not very often do you come across a second season which is even better on paper.
Oh wow.
And I think we executed it beautifully as well. I love the team, be it Oni, our director, Gaurav, and Bhavesh, and you know, the entire stream of writers and production as well, and the actors. So yeah, it's been a beautiful project to be a part of.
It is legitimately an astounding show. We were talking about, like I was telling her that I was recently watching Yellowstone, and that's a gripping drama, and I've been like, I can't wait to, like, you know, every time I'm away from that show, I was like, I want to go and see it. I call it the unstoppability or the unputdownability of something. Like if you're reading a book, you can't wait to see what the next chapter. That's what I felt about this show. Like we literally, my wife and I started the show in the evening. I think we slept at 4 that morning, and it's very irresponsible considering we have a 4-year-old child, and I had to wake up the next morning at 7 because that boy is going to wake up at 7 no matter what. We were up till 4 in the morning watching because we could not stop. We had to know what happens. And oh my God, if you guys haven't seen it, please, for the love of God, go and watch that show. And you, like me, are going to be one of the lucky few because we're not going to have to wait for 3 years to find out what happens in season 2. It leaves you on such a cliffhanger. Oh my Lord, this was brilliant. So, you know, full compliments not just to you for the whole team, the amazing work you did, but the entire team, every actor on that show, from, you know, Arshad Varsi to Amay, and everybody involved was just exceptional.
Thank you.
You know, you talked about this the other day when we spoke, that, you know, you wanted to do like what you wrote in that email that you used to send out. I want to do creative stuff and, you know, alternate cinema and things like that. No commercial work. Where would you categorize a show like Asur? Because it is phenomenal, like from an acting perspective, from the storytelling perspective. Are you happy with a show like Asur?
Of course, I'm very, very proud of it. And having said that, obviously, you know, the part of the person who wrote that mail was very naive, very inexperienced, didn't understand about acting, and what it took to make content.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, my respect for commercial cinema, my respect for commercially viable shows or content has increased that much as well, because a lot of hard work goes, and 100 people come together or more come together to make something happen. And thankfully now the whole not just because of the onset of web, but even before that, I think the lines between commercial and parallel cinema had started to kind of blur.
Correct.
You know, so now we do have a lot of such content which is commercially viable, but also is artistic in its own way, has its is meaningful. The idea was to do meaningful stuff.
Correct. Creatively satisfying, meaningful stuff. Because when I saw this, I you know, like you just said, you know, that line has been blurred so much, because Asur is the kind of show that, you know, you binge watch, instantly finish watching it, but at the same time it is so beautiful. Like, oh my lord, the different themes that it explores, from spirituality to violence to everything, it's phenomenal how beautifully mythology and everything that it brings,
science, it explores it all.
And I thought, you know, in the last few years, thanks to the advent of OTT platforms and, you know, web content, I think there's so much better storytelling that's happening, because I always felt when I watched mainstream, you know, the blockbuster films, it's like doing theater where, you know, you and without microphones, and you want the last person in the audience to be able to hear you, so, you know, you're always projecting. There's this larger than life character that you have to create for films. But now here it's like working with a microphone where you could whisper and there's still the sound will reach your audience, and you can do so many more nuanced roles and tell so many more nuanced stories, deep, you know, mind bending stories, and people are watching. There's an audience for everything. So Asur was one thing that you told me that I should check out. For the people who follow you but who may not have seen the stuff that everything that you've done, they've probably seen you in one thing and they fell in love with you on that, and then they started following you. Is there something else that you want to recommend to them from your body of work?
So that way I'm proud of everything that I've done, because I would say that it all falls in the category of doing meaningful stuff, especially on the web, and the commercial films that I've been a part of have also obviously done exceptionally well, which I'm very, very thankful to God for. Apart from that, I got to collaborate with some beautiful, very talented people. But having said that, there were also films, and my roles were such that kind of very nicely packaged the entertainment bit with making it, they had their own flavor. Like Daddy, of course, is a very, very artistic film, but Tigers in the Hair or War, they have this whole packaging of very commercially viable, commercially masala films, but they have their own flavor of being, I don't know, there's an X factor about them. And both the directors used the characters, all the characters in the film so beautifully, except for just not the main leads. And they packaged it, the story around everyone. There was a story in both of them in a way which kept you on your toes. I remember when War was coming out, a lot of my artistic friends who view cinema very differently were dying to see War, and I was like very surprised that wow, you know, and Bhai obviously is Bhai, and Yash Raj has been a huge part of my journey. I can't thank them enough. And then I got to work with Sanjay Leela Bansali for Padmavat, which was like a dream. I love period dramas.
Beautiful stuff.
And to be a part of his frame and to learn to get to learn from him so early on was a huge blessing. So I think I wouldn't have one thing that I can say that I would recommend. Asur, yes, is a show that I feel is very well rounded. You know, in terms of the BGM, in terms of the cinematography, the story, production, the acting, direction, everything. Criminal Justice has been great for me.
I love
as a career. It's given me a lot also. Ashram was great because of Prakash Jha and experience with him, and lovely set of actors. In fact, I'm just going to meeting one of them who's getting married today.
Oh, wonderful.
So I think for me, It's hard to tell which one. I'm yet to find that one role that I think would make me feel that this one is where I have done my very, very best, and that, to be very honest.
Okay, so she's being humble. I'm going to say, watch everything, check it out, go through her Wikipedia page. You'll see all the things that she's done, and start one by one. Go watch everything, the films, the big, Bollywood films, and all the shows that she's done on OTT platforms. I got to ask you about, you've spoken about Asur, which is going to come out. What else is planned for this year? I mean, I'm sure your fans are waiting to see. I mean, you've taken like a break, like you said, about a month and a half in Jan.
Yeah.
You were able to sort of relax, recoup. But what are you working on now?
So there are a couple of things. One is a film that I finished with Vinay Pathak a while ago, but that is not had its release yet. There I'm playing a psycho killer.
Oh wow, okay.
With a bit of a comic space. So very excited about that. Let's see when it releases. Then there is a film that I've done with Atul Sabharwal called Berlin. That might release sometime this year. There's a series that I did with Milan Luthria, Sultan of Delhi, on Hotstar.
Oh, lovely.
There I'm also playing a very different character. Nervous about that one, but excited as well. So that's going to come out. And Asur, of course. So yeah, these couple of things are ready almost. I mean, and let's say when they have the releases.
With everybody realizing, using social media, creating content, connecting with the fan base in a different way, have you ever contemplated doing, because you love so many different things, you love to travel, you have different experiences in your life. Have you thought about having an alternate space where you can explore what you want to do from Anupriya's perspective and share that content with your fans? I know you probably already do little bits of that on Instagram, but to explore that in a slightly more longer way, like for instance, when you travel, when you did this thing in Goa, maybe make a vlog out of it. Is that something that you feel you'd want to do, or is that oversharing for you?
So see, I'm not a technologically sound person, okay, and I'm somebody who did not have pictures. My childhood memories, pictures with family, up until like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Okay.
I remember somebody 3 years ago had asked me, sometime like around that time, share your picture of your mother's picture, and I didn't have any.
Wow.
And I just realized, wow, like I have no pictures with my friends. People would click pictures and I would just let it be on other phones and never bother even taking them.
Taking it, okay.
And I would never ever transfer whatever would be there on my phone, and whatever. And so yeah, I now have at least understood the value of capturing moments.
Yeah.
I've just reached there.
Okay. And you'll eventually maybe get to sharing those moments.
Yeah, and also social media, I mean, I kind of hated it, to be honest, in the beginning. I still have a very love-hate relationship with it. But now, as I said, that I've now understood the value of documenting moments, and I figured, I think during COVID, though I had taken a huge break from social media during COVID, I felt very wrong about posting anything at that time. Because so much was happening, and I felt that it's disgraceful for me to be able to, though obviously it's also nice because people were just using the platform to connect and share and make lives happy, maybe also.
Correct.
One can look at it either ways.
Yep.
I decided to be away for about 6-7 months. But I also realized that this is a great place for us to be able to share our opinions and share our lives and probably find ways to inspire each other or share how we are feeling.
Yeah.
Though, having said that, I also feel that it is and I've heard many people say that it can get very toxic.
Yeah, it can. I mean, for sure. So, I mean, if you let the comments and the random haters bother you, then
not
it can
just that, everybody's just showing their best part, right?
Oh yeah, okay, from that perspective, yes, for sure. I mean, like nobody is going to talk to you about the bad part of their day.
And you also can't, because the moment you do, you kind of get a feeling that are you spreading negativity?
Got it.
It's a very weird space, but also let's realize that this is too new. And we all are finding our ground with it. The technical revolution that has happened is very new for the humankind to understand what to do, what not to do. I think kids now would have a fairly better idea of how to use social media for their benefit.
Correct.
We are finding our grounds and doing pretty well in a way.
Yep.
But so yeah, I kind of am at a place where trying to understand the benefits, accept it, enjoy it, and also not get carried away into feeling the pressure of doing something or letting it ride my day. Like I can't be spending 5 hours
on social,
or 4 hours,
of course, understandably,
capturing everything,
correct,
and not living the moment. And that kind of definitely happens when you try, like even when I
you try to document everything.
Correct. It does take energy. Some people do it very naturally.
Correct.
I haven't reached there. So yeah, when
I just thought about this because you got such amazing experiences, and was just curious to know if this is something that you'd want to do with your experiences, share them with your fan base, with your audience.
I think I'm finding myself. So I think
I like that.
I don't know that yet. Maybe.
Wonderful. Tell me about some recent film that you've seen, or a series that you've seen that you really enjoyed and that you've not been a part of. What's something recent that you've seen that you would want to recommend to people? Just you enjoyed it.
Wow, I can't think of anything. I've not been watching stuff for the last 2 months.
Okay, so overall in life, a movie that you've seen which you love, like you can revisit it. Umrao Jaan, nice.
Yeah, Silsila, Umrao Jaan, Sai Vivian or Gulam, Pursuit to Happiness. Pursuit of Happiness? Pursuit to Happiness.
You're talking about the Will Smith movie?
Yeah, Pursuit
of
Happiness.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pursuit of Happiness. Many movies. Black Swan. So yeah, like many such films. Machinist. Yeah, lots of them.
And was there a recent thing that you've seen on Indian television or on the OTT platform which you felt like, oh wow, I would have loved to be a part of that show?
I had loved Bombay Begums when it had come out.
Nice.
I'm sure, I just can't recollect it. There was Gangubai, which I really loved. I loved Alia in it. Barfi is one of my all-time favorites. It's not recent though.
Lovely.
But recently there is this series by TVF called Saas Bahu Achar.
Okay.
Which I was very moved by.
Wow, okay.
It captured very simple moments in life beautifully.
Beautiful. I think we could continue talking for ages.
I know, we can just go on and on and on.
Because, literally, I mean, I'm floating from one thing to another, and she's got awesome things to talk about everything, but she's got a long day ahead. We are like already beyond halfway in the day today. That being said, I want to tell you all, make sure you're following her on Instagram if you're already not doing that, because she's got a lot of amazing things coming up this year. She already spoke about, I think, 2 films and 3 shows that are coming out. So there's lots of great content that you're going to get to see on various platforms from Anupriya.
When I'd met Mihir, we both just got chatting, and he promised me this beautiful, soothing, heartwarming conversation, and I was really excited about it, and I'm glad I'm here. I had a lovely time chit-chatting about life and everything else around it. If you want to be a part of such conversations and dive a little deep into people's lives, please do subscribe to the MJ Show. They've completed their 10 years.
10 years this year,
and all my best wishes to them.
Thank you.
So please do like, subscribe, and follow their channel.
Yeah, that was a fabulously done promo. My gosh, that was awesome. But honestly, promos aside, thank you so much for taking time out. I know, firstly, take care of your throat.
Yes.
It's the one thing.
Please give me a magic pill, please.
I
feel like something is stuck here and I can't.
I can imagine how irritating that feels. But take care of yourself, take care of your health,
and
I want to wish you nothing but the best for this year.
So much,
I think you got some great things lined up right now.
And we'll make it happen.
Yeah,
even
it's going to happen.
Lined up, I'm in that place where like life happens, it has to be great.
It's awesome. And that's pretty much all the time we have for now, guys and girls. My name is Mihir Joshi. This is the lovely Anupriya Goenka. Subscribe to the channel, follow her on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.